D, throwing a show, Philly, August 24th, the Met.
Right.
How you feeling about it?
I mean, I feel good. Obviously, you know, I mean, doing this is stressful. You know, being in the game. This event has been like 8 months in the making. So all the behind the scenes stuff that we had to do. I mean, putting stuff up, putting people together. You know, obviously that's stressful for anybody. I respect any promoter that do this. But at the same time, the excitement is there because I can see, you know, the vision developing as we move forward. Everything that we laid down on the table is coming together as we get closer and closer to this event. So I'm excited, man. And my trainer, shout out to Sharaf, he passed away April 6th, sorry about that. But he used to say, the best you could do is the best you could do, and the best you could do is always good enough. And we putting it out there, man. Everything we doing is like top notch, and I'm putting my best foot forward. So, you know what I mean, the rest got to take over and do what it do.
All right, speaking of shows in Philly, was it a week ago? Might have been a little bit over a week ago. Jaron Ennis stopped David Avanesian and Crawford, who faced Avanesian about the year before. That's one of their common opponents.
Right.
Boots stopped him 1 round faster.
Right.
You got detractors feeling like Boots isn't ready because he took some shots in the Avanesian fight. You got people that feel like because he stopped Avanesian faster than Crawford, that, you know, he's more than ready for that fight. Let's make it now. What's your takeaway from it?
To address like him getting caught, when you have a layoff, Boots not used to layoffs, right? You get a little rusty when you have some layoffs, right? So for him being off for almost a year,
a little over a year.
Yeah, he looked good to me in that regard. And then how you take those shots is also important. Boots is a very big welterweight, so he didn't feel not one of those shots. So although, yeah, you got to clean that up, and I know he knows that because he was the first one to say it after the fight, I'm not worried about Boots because of those shots. I think it was just ring rust, you know, when it comes to that. His ability to get him out of here sooner, I know some people look at that and weigh it. It really depends on the person, right? But the way I look at it is like this. This is the one thing I did weigh. The amount of damage that was done. The knockout that Crawford got is a knockout. That's great. But the damage that Boots put on to Avanesian was like drastic. He looked the worse for wear. He looked like, you know, he looked like he was diminishing, and I understood. I think he broke his jaw too. So that type of damage, I give that more credit than just a, you know, your quick, sharp knockout. And I mean, I give Crawford all the credit to do. But when you talk about Boots getting caught, I've seen Crawford get caught quite a bit by a lot of fighters. You know what I'm saying? But he adjusts and do what he got to do. So I can't knock you if you adjust and you get the job done. Because when you watched Crawford in that first round against Kell Brook was tearing that ass up with that jab. He couldn't find an answer for it as a conventional fighter. Next round, he comes out, he switches to southpaw, and he caught Brook coming in and got him out of here. But he was getting caught, you know what I mean? So when you look at that, I don't weigh it as much. And even when you watch him against Errol Spence, he got caught a few times. It's just that, you know, he was doing what he needed to do on top of that. You know what I mean? He was persevering and doing what he needed to do. So when I see a guy get caught, it's not the end of the world. This is boxing. You're going to get caught. You know what I mean? It's how you take the punches and what you're doing to overcome that and adjust to it. And as long as I see you doing that, it makes sense. Now, if we'd have saw a 12-round match and Boots was getting caught all night, no adjustment, didn't get the guy out of here, and looked like he didn't understand what was in front of him, then I would say that's some concern if there's a particular punch that he can't see coming and it's commonplace. But Boots was getting caught in the middle of exchanges. While he's trying to give work, he was getting work back. That's not, to me, a flaw in your defense. That's just you're getting caught in your exchanges. You might not be judging the distance as well as you thought, or you might look at a guy as he might be pushing some of his punches, so you think you got his timing down, and he throws some explosive shots out of nowhere, which is what it looked like. And they changed the speed, you know, fastball versus a curveball versus a, you know what I mean, change up, same thing.
If that fight were to occur next at 154 pounds, how do you see it?
I think it's just a good fight. Now, how I see it, it's a 50-50 fight. That's why I want to see it. I think the advantage that Crawford has is his experience, obviously. He's been around a while, and he has some setups where, you know, at the end of the day, he's a very dangerous and very creative offensive fighter, right? And I look at that as formidable for anybody, especially a guy who can switch hit and got that kind of power and strength. I honestly don't think there's anybody that's going to deal with Crawford except for Boots. That's why I want to see the fights. because the advantage that Crawford has in having that wrestling background, being a little stronger than he looks, stronger than the size, and being a guy that has grit and is tough. His match is a Boots. Boots is a little bigger than the most welterweights. He's a strong guy. He's definitely tough. He can switch hit. So it's like, you know what I mean? Remember Logan when he walked past his younger self? You know what I mean? Yeah. The animal version of himself.
What is it? X24?
Yeah, Logan. When he walked down the steps, he looked at Wolverine. Looked at himself in the eyes. I think that's what you're looking at when you look at a Boots and a Crawford, and not to say their styles are the same, other than the fact that they switch hit. Because I feel like Boots' defense is better, even though we just talked about him getting hit, but it's better out of both stances, because he has multiple styles out of conventional, multiple styles out of southpaw that he can deploy at any given moment. So how I see that going is, kid like Boots, switch army knife type guy. He got a lot of tools, but Crawford has the experience. So depending on how those two forces meet and how Boots mitigates his lack of experience versus how Crawford deploys, the things that he knows, his little tricks of the trade, that's going to determine who edges it out. But and then also obviously damage. You know what I mean? Both those guys can damage you real easy in any fight. So depending on who gets damaged the soonest, I think that also will tell you, where it's going to go. But skill-wise, I think it's very evenly matched skill-wise because of the experience and tools that I just displayed. Like skill-wise, it could go any way. But when you add attrition and damage to that equation, it's just about who's getting off first, who's getting off earliest, and who inflicts the most punishment that adjusts the other one's game plan earlier in that fight. So how it starts may not be how it finishes, but I think that the person who pushes the pedal to the metal earliest and starts to inflict damage earlier, we're going to see what the adaptation is by the other, and may the best man win. But I don't want to say Boots or Crawford, because that's a real 50-50 fight. I don't think Boots is even saying I'm going to walk in and watch Crawford. And if he is, he is. He's supposed to be as confident as he wants to be. But from an analytical perspective, both of them got tools on their side that could mean victory. And that's why we want to watch the fight. You know what I mean? If we thought, hey, Boots automatically going to beat this guy, why watch it? If you thought Crawford was automatically going to beat Boots, why watch it? The question is, what happens when these two unstoppable forces meet? And I think you're going to get like fireworks and all the shit that we looking for in boxing. That's what we need. That's what we want. You know what I mean? Like Trinidad versus De La Hoya. Hopefully it don't go that way, but you know what I mean? Yeah. Like those type of forces meeting at the height of their careers is a good thing. You know what I mean?